Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome everybody to another session of Join the Chat. This is the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important, where you're empowered to express yourself, and we try to create a platform that is free and a space that is open to be able to speak and also to be heard. So I have with us today Kimmy, Miss Fabulosity, and Andre will be joining us in a few moments. I am your host for the evening, Renford, Mr. Bojangles, and we're here with another dynamic session. So we're going to be able to get nice and close and intimate with the Miss Kimmy Fabulosity because it looks like it's just she and I for the time being right now. Kimmy, how are you doing today, girlfriend?
You know what? I'm doing okay. I was a little womp womp about the snow again. It's pretty when you're looking outside and you don't have to go deal with it, but I'm over it. Bring on the spring.
You know what? I'm so with you. Like Wednesday, we had that heavy snowfall, and it took me about 2.5 hours to get through everything. And then today, again, I was like, come on, man, you're busting my back right now. So, but this is the choice that we get because our parents wanted to give us better opportunities and come to the great north and come to Canada and all that stuff. They didn't tell us about the snow though.
I know. It was too late when they got here. They didn't know. It was too
Yeah,
late. You
yeah.
can't go back.
They couldn't go back at the time at all. People would think that they were that they failed. So they had to stay
Yeah.
here and just deal with it.
I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to bring my kids back over there.
I'm telling you, I'm on the same boat. There's just a
Yeah.
different richness, a different energy over there in the islands. So yeah, we are on the same page, Kimmy. This is why we get along so well. Look at us, we're matching in our attire, all of that.
Right?
Hey,
My shirt
hey.
says ooh la la.
But you know what? Now that we have some time with you, let's just explore a few topics just with you first. And I just want to talk about one specific thing about you. You have this catchphrase, fabulosity,
Ah,
fabulous,
yes, yes,
dynamic. Where did that
yes.
even come from?
It has stemmed. for as long as I can remember. I always just loved the phrase divine fabulosity. I just feel like it's dripping all over me. I'm oozing in divine fabulosity. And it's just always been a part of my world.
Is fabulosity even a word? Because
It
all
should
these years,
be.
I thought you made it up. So, but you're
It
saying
should
divine
be.
fabulosity. It just rolls off your tongue, and it sounds like it
Yeah.
needs to be in the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
I gotta holler at Merriam and Webster and let them know that this needs to be added to their repertoire. They'll
You need
never
to get on,
regret it.
and if you don't get on it, at least with them, you need to copyright it. So that
Right,
means
right.
anytime somebody uses it, you need to get the royalties. It's all about the
Okay.
what you're publishing on.
All right. Yeah, no, I love that word and I use it all the time, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm coming from a remote location because I wear my other hat, switching hats today. So I got the coach's hat on. So we're coming live and direct from the gym, you know, in the gym office,
Awesome.
you know. Okay, so all of these medals behind me,
Yeah.
not my
Oh,
not my doing. All the
okay.
pictures, not my doing, but
Not
we
you.
were I'll roll with it, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good job. So listen, seeing as how I am in a gym and I'm dealing with sports and all that stuff, I want to jump in on my first topic. Last week, there was a tennis tournament that took place, the Australian Open. It concluded. Young lady by the name of Naomi Osaka won it, 23 years of age, half
Yes.
Japanese mother, Haitian father. I wanted to kind of speak about her just being a young individual having such great success and the platforms that she has. What do you know? Can you tell me anything about the platforms that she has? What do you know? What do you not know?
Right. Well, I know that when she speaks, she is so humble and well spoken and just a lovely young lady. She speaks very well. She's not hyping up the place. And I just find she's just so humble. And she seems proud of who she is and her cultures and stuff like that. So I really, really like her. She seems absolutely divine.
Yeah, she's one of the sweetest, like just personalities that I've seen in a long time, especially when you deal with athletics too, right? Like you're used to the bravado and you have to have edge. But she's just such a sweet young lady.
Yeah,
Um,
she really is.
I'm not sure if you knew, but there was a tournament, I think, right around the protest times or right after the
Mm.
protest. And she was wearing masks and she had the names of people who were killed. And her whole aim behind that was to raise awareness about senseless killings. And I just thought that was such a rich way of, having a platform. Were you aware of that? Did you know about that? Do you have any comments to that?
I think it's absolutely magnificent. And I think it is really important and honorable of somebody that is of that age to use her platform to raise awareness of some of the things that's going on in this world that need attention. So I
Right.
think it's just absolutely amazing. And props to her, man. Props. Because she didn't have
Yeah.
to.
And she didn't have to at all, she really didn't have to. And I remember there was reporters who were trying to ask her, what is this thing for? uh, I don't know how much you know about it. You tell me what you know about it first, for foremost, before I just start jumping in. But what do you know about it? What do you know about that whole stuff?
Well, I just know that I saw her with the mask on, and I'm pretty sure I saw a few YouTube videos that covered it at that time.
Yeah.
Um, and I saw her on like Steve Harvey and stuff, but when it comes to her speaking on that issue, I don't know too much about it. I know she wore the mask, but I don't know too many more details about it.
Okay, okay. I just remember there was a point where a reporter was asking her, like, what does wearing the mask mean? And her quote was, well, what was the message that you got from it? That was more of the question. She felt like the point is to have people start talking about the issues, talk about the senseless killings, just raising the awareness, just raising the approach, just having people, just really it being brought to the forefront. So that's kind of what I kind of wanted to talk about it today, just because I see a young lady who's first and foremost at the top of her game, and she's just excelling at the game.
Big
She's
things.
making so much money with endorsements,
Yeah.
yet using that platform in such a positive, such a rich manner. And do you think athletes in general, Do you think they're role models? Do you think that they have more of a responsibility to use their platform to speak about social issues? Should they just be playing the game? What do you think about that?
Well, athletes who are extremely talented and in their craft, you know what I mean? Just like, entertainers and people that have a wide reach. I do think that they have a certain responsibility, and they should acknowledge the amount of influence they have on people and use that in a positive way. And just going back to what Naomi said, my goodness, what a perfect answer, because it does, it turns it back on the person asking the question. Be like, what do you take from this? What are you getting from it? What do you see from this? And let's talk about it.
So, what would you say to athletes or entertainers who don't feel they're role models? You've heard Charles Barkley say things like this in the past, that he's not a role model, or entertainers who are just like, I'm just an actor, I'm just a this, I'm that. That's what I do. It's not my job to speak on certain issues. And you've had other high prolific athletes and stuff who haven't said anything. So,
Right.
what would you say about those individuals who don't feel like they have to speak just because they're good at a sport, or high in the entertainment field, or have a following?
I definitely think it's kind of selfish, you know what I mean? Because regardless of how they feel about it, it's the reality of their status and their stature. And of course, some people live a more private life or whatever, and that's their choice. But if you're going to be out there, you do have a responsibility, I think, to acknowledge the fact that people are going to follow you and probably follow your actions and want to be like you. So, first of all, another thing you should wonder is, why do you want to brook out in front of millions and trillions of people? Well, maybe not trillions, but why do you want to act like a dink? Why would you want to show that type of character? Wouldn't you want to leave a legacy where you're an honorable, nice person that does good things? So
Well, let
kind of
me let
gotta,
me let me advocate for those who don't feel that they are role models. So they're here to play a sport, they're here to act. That's what they love to do. Just because
yeah.
they're in the public eye, that shouldn't mean that they have to speak. That shouldn't mean that they have to address every single issue just because they're in the public eye and they have a following.
Right. Well, you don't have to address every single issue, but I do think that when you have a platform, you should use it for the better. It
What if they
can't
didn't
just
want?
be,
But what if they never wanted the platform, right? Like they wanted to act, they wanted to just excel in this sport, they wanted to entertain. That's all they wanted to do. They didn't ask for the platform. The platform just came as a byproduct of them, being famous, rich and famous, and they didn't ask for any of that.
mhm,
So if that's
mhm,
their
mhm.
reason behind it, and they say, "Listen, me, I didn't ask for this. I just wanted to
Right,
act, be different characters and get paid millions of dollars." So who are you to tell me now that I must speak and I must be a
right,
spokesperson, have this platform? I didn't ask for it. Take it back.
right. Well, I mean, if somebody asks you a question on a pretty heated topic and that's your answer, that just shows your character at the end of the day. You know what I mean? If that's what type of answer you want to provide over controversial issues, I mean, that's your choice. At the same time, if that's something that you want to do, you also have a choice in what you choose to do. So if you just want to act and stay low level, then that's your choice. You know what I mean? If you want to move up higher in the ranking, you don't have to take the NBA deal if you don't want to. You want to
Well,
stay on the
well,
court, then stay on the court. But it's also your choice too.
yeah, yeah. I'm a firm believer that I think anyone who is in that public eye automatically kind of becomes a role model, automatically becomes a spokesperson, and I think that either way, good or bad, right? Like anything that they say, negative or positive, is just going to reach such a wide stream. So I think there's a definite responsibility that every individual needs to have once they have those platforms and once they have that reach, once they have that notoriety. There's just a responsibility that comes along with it. If you don't like it, maybe that's not the profession you need to be in, but it comes along and you should have the responsibility. And one of the things that Naomi said that struck to me, and again, should just be some encouragement for everyone, not just young people. But she said everyone has a platform, and how they use it is their responsibility. And I think that's just
Mm-hmm.
really. of kind of summing everything up. So, with that, let me just kind of segue into a different topic. What about integrity and loyalty? Right? We're speaking about responsibility of a platform, integrity and loyalty. Can you tell me what integrity means to you? What does loyalty mean to you?
Well, integrity, it's like, your cutoff point, right? You'll do certain things, but you won't do certain things.
Okay.
And it says a lot about your character, your integrity, and what you're willing to do, and who you might be willing to step on to do it. And
Mm.
loyalty is just, being a good friend and being a reliable, honest, trustworthy person. That's what it is. And it's important to me because, especially, sometimes you don't realize the importance until people have shown you how disloyal, unloyal, I don't know what the word is, but how non-loyal that they can be. And then you're like, golly, I forgot how important loyalty is on my values priority list.
Hmm. So where does it rank on your values priority lists when you talk about integrity?
Now it ranks pretty daggone high because, you know, amazing, amazing, amazing example. I don't know if you watched it, but um Judas and the Black Messiah. Oh
I
God, the
haven't
movie
seen it.
God.
Don't
The
spoil
movie
it for me,
God.
please.
Did you
Yeah,
watch it?
no, so don't spoil it. But
Oh,
I've been hearing nothing but great reviews about it,
oh
and I'm
my
such a big Black
goodness.
Panther fan. So I'm all about that movement and the revolutionaries. I don't mean to
Oh,
cut you.
wow. Well, when you watch it, you will see a huge theme of loyalty and lack of integrity all over that film. It was so well done. But it's interesting because it shows what being unloyal and kind of being selfish for your own gain, it starts to wear on people. You don't live peacefully when you live like that. So,
Right.
ooh, it's juicy. You gotta watch. Oh, it's
I
so
gotta
good.
see it. I gotta see it.
So
So I'm
good.
just looking at the definition for integrity, and it says that integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Is moral uprightness. So again, you talk about character. So do you believe that somebody can lack integrity and still have a good character, or have a bad character and have great integrity? Are they
Mm,
synonymous? Are they connected?
yeah, they're definitely connected because it's not going to match up. It all goes in the same flizzo. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
all jump in the same boat. So I mean, I could be really great and fabulous, and then when the cameras are off, just turn into an absolute dinkus Van Lucas. But that is going to be a reflection of my character. That makes me a fake person. You know what I mean?
So
So,
what there's some people that say that they're brutally honest, right? And they
yeah,
don't think that there's anything wrong with that, right? So if integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, but then
yeah,
I'm so brutally honest that I don't
right,
take into account how you feel about it,
yeah,
does that not does that me having integrity still makes me have a kind of a dirty character?
right, 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 right. No, I definitely think you still have a bit of a dirty character. And um, somebody had mentioned, who was that? Special Occasions just mentioned that there is a lack of integrity these days with people. And it's true because it does feel like a lot of people are out for themselves and, regardless of the consequences. So when it comes to being brutally honest, there's a difference between being brutally honest and being rude and being um disrespectful. If you're being brutally honest, you got to check yourself and see where your honesty is coming from too. Why do you feel the need to speak on absolutely everything that you may not be asked anyway?
Right.
And if you don't care about somebody's feelings, why would you even want to say something about it?
So that's a great point. So then, do you think that truth can be absolute? Is like the sky is blue, the sky is blue. It's the truth. It's just is what it is, absolute. or can there be variances of the truth? And
Ooh,
would that play on somebody's integrity? Because my truth, I'm speaking my truth, you don't adopt it,
right.
and then you're butting heads. And you're saying that my character is ugly now because, but I'm speaking my truth, girl.
Yeah, we are definitely in the era of my truth. Um, it's a thing, right? Well, they're speaking their
Yeah.
truth and stuff like that. But I think when it comes to human beings, because we are spiritual beings, we have feelings. I don't think the truth can be absolute because there's so many different variables that affect the things. You know what I
Right.
mean? If I wake up and I'm feeling groggy and gooey and it's just like, oh yeah, it's sunshiny, womp womp, well, it's, ain't no sunshine when it's gone type of thing for me. But you
Mm,
know what I mean? It's still my truth at that time. But it's one
yeah.
of those things that can't be black and white. Some things are absolute, some things don't fit in the absolute box.
I'm so glad you touched upon the spirituality level of things because physically I might feel tired, but spiritually I'm rich and I'm empowered, right? And if I
Mm,
tap into my spiritual side, it can change my natural side, right? So I'm glad you
100%.
spirituality sides. Now, hold up then. Is spirituality absolute? Or are there variances
Well,
in oh,
it, it depends.
but does it
I
depend
think
on
that I think yeah, for sure. I think that spirituality, the concept of it is so different for so many different people that because we're all so different spiritually that we all have a different experience, and our spiritual connection with for me is the almighty is different for everybody, so I don't think it can be absolute. It's absolute for me,
hmm,
but it's not absolute for everybody.
fair enough. Fair enough. We had a comment in the section that said the truth is the truth and anything else is but a lie. So I would love for that person to just comment on what the truth is for them then. If the truth is the truth and it is absolute, what is the truth? Can they define that? I don't know. Maybe I'm yanking a little too much out of your chains, but it's what we do here at Join the Chat because everybody's opinion is important and every person's opinion matters. So I want to hear what your opinion is. So as we're speaking about integrity, we're speaking about truth, we're speaking about spirituality. So let me touch on the next one, which was loyalty. And loyalty, the definition that I had here was the strong feeling of support or allegiance. What is loyalty to you, Kimmy? How important is it in your life?
Loyalty is important for me, because I consider myself a loyal person and I like loyalty to be given back to me. There's a few people I know that are very loyal, that have a good chunk of integrity, but there's a lot of people I know whose loyalty is PU funky. And they will take your juice and sip it up with somebody else, pinkied up with ice cubes and a little shot of tequila. So, uh,
Okay, a lot of description there. The chocolate tequila, not vanilla, not strawberry, just the chocolate tequila. Make sure you get the ingredients right, people. If you're trying to concoct a
mm-hmm.
Fabulosity, make sure you have the right ingredients there. All right, the chocolate vodka.
Right. Yeah, a little
You
bit.
said you believe that you're a loyal person. What
Yeah.
makes you loyal? How are you loyal?
Well, I think I'm loyal because my people know that they can holler at me at any time and I will give them some unbiased, real, brutally honest truth. Okay.
With
With love,
integrity. And
with love.
integrity.
Yeah, and integrity. So they know if they don't want to hear the truth about something, not to holler at me because I will stay consistent and, give it to them raw like ODB. Um,
Oh, baby, I like it, bro.
right? What you know about that?
Come on,
Also,
man.
I Also, I know that I used to love sipping other people's hot tea. Tea is pretty juicy as long as it's not you in the spotlight, right? So I've humbled. But now, if anybody brings some hot gossip my way, I lightly repackage and try to give them more of a helping, loving way of dealing with that drama.
So you just return that to sender. You return that package
Yeah,
right back to came from.
yeah. With a
It
little
sounds
extra fondant on top.
like I know you. The viewers might not know you, but by everything that you're speaking about, it clearly seems that you're on a journey. You're on a new path. You're on a new journey. You're on a place of enlightenment. Because you're talking about the people that you used to hang out with and people you used to be around. So clearly, those individuals don't have as much of a stronghold in your life anymore. Can you
Right.
speak? Can you speak about your journey?
Oh, Lord, my journey, it has been interesting. And you know what? I realized the other day that I'm going to be turning 40, God willing. That's going to be my next birthday. Sexiness en route. But 40 is supposed to be the year of transformation, right? Like 40 days, 40 nights, all that other good stuff. And it 2020 with the lockdown and everything, it was really a big year of transformation for me in my mind, reprioritizing, refocusing my goals, reassessing where I put my energy and with whom. Jumbo wake up call of a non-alignment between what I wanted to be and what I was doing. So it's been a journey and still is, but I am loving every little step of the way. And I'm excited for the future because now I've kind of rearranged the Rubik's Cube.
I kind of like that visual about the Rubik's cube. Trying to get all the colors together, and it takes
Yeah.
a long time. And the only way you can actually get it done is if you persevere, right? It's not a
Well,
quick thing
that's
unless
it.
you're Will Smith. But other than that, you have to take your time and kind of navigate through it. So
Yep.
then, as we're talking about integrity and we're talking about loyalty, and we're talking about your transition and your transformation,
Mm.
can somebody regain your trust or regain a sense of integrity or a sense of loyalty if they have lost it? If you feel that it's gone, can they regain it?
Right. Well, on my spiritual journey, we're supposed to forgive, right? And not just, taking I'm sorry or whatever when somebody's hurt you, but to really forgive somebody in your heart. Um, Reality doesn't feel that way at first. It doesn't feel natural when you know that somebody's wronged you. And I think a big difference is when somebody wrongs you and continues to wrong you, and you haven't gotten the memo yet that you're now enabling this behavior. So when you get the memo and then you pull out from it, you're like, okay, you know what I mean? This ain't the way that I want to go here, flip flopping
Right.
around. Um, so it's important to forgive. However, it's also important not to continue to keep a gateway open for that person or people or group to continue to hurt you in certain ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can love people from afar. You understand?
Yes.
You can love people from afar. They don't have to be a constant fixture or influence in your life.
I love, yeah, so right. And
Mhm.
I remember reading a quote talking about uh, only I am responsible for my happiness. I can't depend on anyone to make me happy. But
Yeah.
it's I love the point where you're talking about if somebody wrongs you, we can't enable them, we can't allow them, we can't perpetuate them to continue to wrong us, right?
Right.
So we forgive in one instance, and they might not regain that trust or regain that sense of loyalty or the sense of integrity, but you don't wish them any ill. You don't wish them any harm.
Right.
You still be the best.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I like the
Exactly.
fact that you talked about people wrong you, not to allow them to continue to wrong you, and
Right.
only we're responsible for that. We're responsible for how people treat us at the end of the
Yeah.
day, right?
Yeah.
And how we react or how we act towards those treatments as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kimmy, I feel like we're having a therapy session. That's what I feel like we're having. I'm feeling light now. I came in a little heavy. I'm feeling light now. I don't know if it's chocolate tequila or what. I don't know what's in that
You have to
in
just
that mug
zip it.
that we're sipping on. I don't know what's in there, but I feel nice. I feel warm. I feel warm.
Wonderful.
So listen, I'm going to segue to our last topic for the day. I thought we were going to have somebody else coming in, but Kimmy, you and I might have to have our own program, just you and I, because I like the vibe.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to branch out. I'm not trying to
Right, right,
discredit
right,
anybody,
right.
but I like the vibe that's going on right here, Kimmy.
You
I
know what
like
we
it.
could call it?
What we can call it?
Himbo.
Kimbo slice, a slice of
Himbo
Kimbo.
slice. Proper.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So we're in Ontario. Some of us are bordering in Quebec as well. Forgiveness is not always positive, but letting go of that negativity is uplifting and lets us move forward. Yes, Juliana, it's so true, right? And I
Shout out to
remember like,
Julie. Love you.
yeah, and I remember hearing about forgiveness as well, right? And it was always taught to, well, I had a certain view of forgiveness way back, but then I learned that forgiveness is a gift, and it's a gift that you give to somebody else, and you're not expecting anything else in return. So I forgive you. I forgive that person of their actions, whether they want to give us that forgiveness back, whether they want to acknowledge the issues or whatnot. We've given them that gift. We don't
Yeah,
expect anything in return. And also in giving the gift, the other person has a right to either accept that forgiveness or not accept the forgiveness. And same thing, if somebody says they forgive us for something, we can also accept it or reject it as well. So
right.
forgiveness is so key in helping to let go. They talk
Yeah,
about somebody living rent free in your mind. That's what happens when you have this burden, and you have this thing in your mind that you just keep going over and keep reliving because
yeah.
that person did you this or did you that, and they're not even thinking about you, but you're thinking about them all the time. So forgive, let go to be able to move forward. Thank you, Juliana, for that. You are
Yes.
wise, Juliana.
Love it. And she touched on the fact that it is uplifting when you let these things go. And
Yes.
people harbor so much resentment and unforgiveness that they live miserable lives. And some people don't even know that they're
That's true.
blocked. It's like being constipated all your life, all bound up and tight and needing a good cleaning out. But
Yeah.
anyway, a lot of people don't recognize it, and a lot of people don't. I think they get to a point where some people don't want to let it go because they're so used to
Right.
being the
The
victim
trauma.
of this, being the victim of this stuff. And I actually went through that too, where I was holding on to some resentment, and it actually started changing my personality. So whenever I was dealing with this person, it was 100% all spice. Yeah. And you're going to take it, you're going to listen to it, you're going to feel it because you made me like this. So you sit in it. And the person had to call me out and be like, listen, I get it, bro. Okay. I know I did you wrong, but now you feel like you can be hurtful to me. You
Right.
feel justified in hurting me. And I was like, you know what? It's true. I'm not normally that picante. You
It's
know? Like,
interesting.
yeah, that's true, man. But move
It's
from it.
interesting.
But it's
It's
true.
interesting that you say that though too, because again, the adage is hurt people hurt people. So it
Yes.
almost seems like you were using that as a defense mechanism. So before
Yes.
that person could hurt you again, you were hurting them first.
Yes. With pure scotch bonnet all the time.
Jeez,
On your body scotch bonnet pepper. Wait.
so that's another great segue because the next thing I wanted to talk about is what type of coping mechanisms do you have for certain mental health issues or certain things that are bothering you? What I know, we're in Ontario now, Quebec, bordering Quebec, so a lot of businesses has reopened. Restaurants have reopened. People have a little bit more freedom right now. Some of the
Right.
restrictions have been lifted. So, what are some of the coping mechanisms that you use or you have heard about to deal with your mental health, to cope with your mental health?
Well, you know what? I think, especially ever since Black Lives Matter came to the forefront here in Ottawa, with like, with the march and everything like that, I think that that brought out a lot of awareness to some of the unique issues that people of color might experience. So I'll have to share the link. There has been more um, counseling services directed for people of color um, to use. Um, there's also a lot of distress lines available. Um, there's things where you can text in. These are things that I know about. I don't know if it's because I'm in the field or whatever, but there's
Right.
numbers now that you can text in anonymously and just, vent to somebody. Um, how I think society is using their resources. I think a lot of people are smoking weed. That's one of the places that never shut down. And
Yes.
I think it's interesting, just that's on another day, but I think it's interesting that ganja is a big part of our colored culture. But I think that there's a huge increase in mental health illness. And I think a big chunk of it is connected to the ganja and what people are putting in the mind.
Mm.
That's another day. I know a lot of people are drinking. The wine is going down like no tomorrow. And a lot of people are shopping. It's a lot of Amazon. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I don't know if it's the most positive ways, but I think that's definitely how people are dealing with it. Me personally, I TikTok. I put on my face, I learn these little dances, and I do chupidness punditing. And that's how I deal.
So you've spoken about TikTok. You've spoken about substances such as alcohol and narcotics. You spoke about shopping. How serious do you take your own mental health?
Oh, I take it so much more seriously now than I was when I was younger and fearless and, work 24 hours a day, get that money, go shopping, do my thing. Now I'm a lot more serious about it and a lot more aware. Hey, when I'm not okay, I need to do something about it. I have like three different counselors. I always like
Like,
going to counseling. I think it's important. I think that just like from birth, when you have a SID number, you should have a life coach and a counselor to help deal with your shiitake mushrooms throughout life. And it's also nice to have somebody that you're not personally connected to that is more knowledgeable on certain things and can connect certain dots for you. So I'm pro therapy, I'm pro counseling. Um, yeah.
and, and can you tell me what made you decide to seek out counselors? You said you have not just one, not just two, but
Yeah,
three. What,
right.
where, how did that come about?
Well, I'm in the social services field. I've always been in it. And it can be very traumatizing sometimes, some of the things that you see. Um, and it's always been like that, even from group home days, right? Dealing with, I was dealing with girls that used to like cut themselves and coming from abuse. And, they grow an attachment to you. You end up listening to their stories and you're just like, holy shit, talking, man. It's good to dump that stuff off somewhere else instead of accumulating it. And I definitely think me being a jumbo energy and always being in the helping field, I used to accumulate a lot of these people's stuff, working at the shelter. You hear people at like some of the lowest levels of their lives. You see people overdose all the time. They're depressed, they're drunk, they're in the bed. You know what I mean? There's fabulous people there, don't get me wrong, but listening to it all the time and like, you're just like, oh my goodness. Then you got
Right.
baby fathers, and then you got friends, and you got all their poop. So I've always
Yeah.
liked counseling. So I have a Christian counselor from Elin Counseling Services. I love them. I went on a retreat with them, and it was absolutely amazing. And then I have a violence against women counselor that is through Carlington Community Center. It's free. And I also have a family services counselor who gives me a lot of single mommy resource help support. And she actually connected me with the counselors for the people of color. So I stay
Okay.
busy.
Clearly, and clearly, I mean, now we know why you're broke.
They're free,
I
except for
get it.
Elam. Elam, you gotta pay.
I get
But
it
they're
now, man.
free and they're there. And so I use it.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that there are resources out here, there are counseling services out here that don't charge, because I
Yes.
know that's one of the deterrents from people trying to explore counselors is just the amount of cost, and do the work
Yeah.
have benefits? Do the benefits cover it?
Yeah.
So I like you. I'm similar to you in terms of I felt like throughout life I've always just been doling out, taking on people's issues, trying to give them solutions,
Yes.
and it's draining. It was draining. So I actually went to my first counseling session this week because over
How
the
did you
pandemic,
like it?
you know what, I loved it. And I
Yes.
think, yeah, I loved it. I loved it, and especially as a man of African descent, we don't necessarily talk our business and rare, but
Yeah.
it was very, I don't want to say empowering, but at least for me, it might be empowering for others, but what's the word I'm looking for? It was refreshing. It
Yes.
was refreshing to have somebody else sit down and like hear me, and
Right.
I could just speak as much as I wanted or as
Yeah.
little as I wanted. And
Yes.
then the person was able to kind of direct it a certain way, but I found it was very, very, very refreshing. And again, I left a lot lighter.
Yes.
Work right after, and I realized certain things that were bothering me at work normally after that session. It's not that it was brush off the shoulders, but I was just in a different space. I was just
Right.
like,
Right. Right.
no nonsense, but me, I'm refreshed right now. I'm feeling good,
Oh,
and nobody can take that from me. So
I
you
love
go
that.
on with this.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it
And
was.
props to you for sharing that too, because I think if people try, and especially if they connect, I've gone through many counselors. And
Mm,
if a connection ain't there, it ain't happening for me. You know what I mean? I'll just pull out. Like, no. You need a good connection. And another reason too is to know why you're going to do it. You can't look to people to solve your problems, or
that's it.
expect that your life is going to change the next day, or that certain things that were bothering you isn't going to bother you no more. But it's
Right.
a different space that's disconnected from all of your other interpersonal relationships, and it stays that way. So you don't have to be edited ever. And it's a release. You know what I mean? It's a let go. And sometimes it's a connected dots. And sometimes you just get all these aha moments that you're just like, yes, and it's a good way to defunctify. Let it
I
out.
feel that. So, was there anything ever in your counseling sessions? Were there any issues that came up that you weren't aware of? Was there anything that you believe that, or a coping mechanism that you had that you thought was going well and totally failed?
100%. It was through my counseling sessions that I realized when I was burnt out, um, feeling lethargic, not able to focus, you know, just feeling heavy and just womp womp, um, not having like a motivation or like a zest, to like go after my goals. So it was through counseling that I realized that I was literally running on fumes. I was exhausted, and it doesn't make any sense to try to make sense of anything if your brain isn't rested.
Right.
And so I was also, um, it opened my mind to the fact that I had to start to rearrange my priorities and my energy focus. You know what I mean? But it's a counselor, somebody who's a professional on the other side that can say, oh, okay, so you got this going on, Hashtag hello. Obviously, you're tired if you're running on this much sleep, this much stress, and all these other
Right.
things. You know what I mean? And so it's important to break things down into small, little manageable pieces so that you're not overwhelmed with everything. And then you just don't end up doing anything. And it's like a cycle. You're just like, what am I doing? So, anyway.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it helped me rearrange the pieces. So cut down a little bit of this, improve that, take out this. You know what I mean? If every time I talk to this friend, I'm feeling like, oh my God, like I need a shot of this chocolate tequila, maybe I don't have to answer the phone call every time, you know? So it definitely
Yeah.
gives a different perspective.
The brain is such a powerful tool, such a valuable organ, and we spend so little time nurturing it and cultivating it and taking care of it and nurturing it. Yet it touches upon every other thing that we do in life.
I
We
know.
gotta we gotta do a better job of taking care of our minds, taking care of our mental
Yes.
health.
And I'm starting, baby. And this is a great start, right? I
This
love
is
this
it.
start. What a wonderful way to start 2021.
This is great. This is great. I mean, and that's why we joined the chat, right? We gotta be able to express ourselves. There was another mention in the chat about talking and speaking our truth helps society, right? And that's what we're
Yes.
doing here. We're doing the chat where we have different perspectives, we have different um, beliefs, we have
Yes.
different ways of doing things, and if we're all just respectful to hear each other out, and we don't have to agree, we don't have to disagree, but we learn and society
Exactly.
is a better place if we're able to just build upon what everyone else is doing. There's so much.
Hmm.
Imagine we were still cooking without spice. Imagine that was somebody's culture, that was somebody's truth, right? And they came and dabble it, and I would spice up everything. Spice it up, spice it up. All right, so look, mental health again, serious situations. What have you learned about yourself and maybe your mental health during this pandemic?
Oh man, I really learned that my priorities were just out of whack, I was just in survival mode. Um, I got to know my kids real good. I got to know my kids real good. I got to spend about 5 months home, almost 5 months home with them when there was no daycare. And so when you're with people don't realize how much of a break school and daycare is for your mental health, right? So I was just like, oh my gosh, like these things are just like me. First of all this attitude, it taught me about myself. And it taught me how much I needed to take literal blocks of Kimmy only time in order to release the best fruit and modeling for my babies and for
Yeah,
whoever else comes into contact with me. So
yeah.
it taught me that like self-care, mentally, physically, spiritually, in every way, healthily, if that's a word, has to be number one. And then everything else will flow fabulously from that fountain.
So, what are type of things that you've done to rectify or to change your priorities? You said your priorities were out of whack before. What are things that you have tangibly done to change how you prioritize things? Now that we
Right.
know that health is up there, up there, up there.
Yeah. Well, there's also a life coach within me, right? Like that's one of my dreams is to be a life coach. I've done the counseling thing for a very long time. I want to get people from where they're at to where they want to be in small, manageable, tangible steps. When I took the course, I realized how much I needed my own bumbleclot life coaching. Okay. So the thing, the thing that really worked for me was this thing, I forget what it's called, but it's where you literally take like 10, 15 minutes tops, right? I did this at my vision board party. I did too. I had in 2018. It was fabulous. Party with a purpose. Hello. But what I did was I literally took a chunk of time. You warm yourself up with some good. old school jams. Get yourself nice and loose and literally take 10 to 15 minutes to just put out everything that you want in your life, what you want to do, all these different things in various um, areas, i.e., physical, i.e., relational, i.e., spiritual, or whatever. So I call it a brain dump. You just set the timer, right? Feeling good and ooey and gooey. So then you have this list at the end of the 15 minutes, right? So I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff, what I wanted my family life to be like, my finances list, everything, just let it all out. And then I went over my list and I brought down the things that were able to be accomplished within a year. And this was my process of selection. And then at the end of it all, I ended up with one or two top priorities to work on within the year over different areas of my world. So that was the starting point. And then you break down all the little
Yeah.
chunks.
Good for you.
Yeah.
It's great to, like, again, like I said, knowing you. It's just great to hear where you are, and
Right.
it's going to be fantastic to see where you're going and where you end up. Because I know the sky's the limit. So I'm in your corner. You know I'm here. So I'm watching. And you're inspiring. You're inspiring so many people that you come in contact with. So just know that you have pressure out here. Just know.
Ah, well,
I want,
I can only be me, man. This is how it worked for me. So,
yeah.
and I just want to speak on something really quickly that when you do get clear, because that's one of our problems. We don't even know what we want, let alone how to get it. You know what I mean? There's this dude, he's dead now, but he's fabulous. His name is Zig Ziglar. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's like a motivational speaker and stuff like that. But he says, how can you hit the target if you don't even know what the bullseye
What,
is?
yeah, what you're aiming
Right?
for. Yeah.
Paraphrase somehow. Anyway, you get the gist. But
Yeah.
it's true. And I find, and it has always happened for me, it is almost inevitable that it happens. But I find that once you're clear on where you want to go, opportunities literally just flop into your world. And it's effortless almost. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's really, really effortless. Like this platform, when I did the vagina monologues, it was like that. When I ended up singing with Rossi and the Vibes Band, it just kind of like, you know what I mean? And it just keeps on kind of flowing like that. When I burlesqued, I was like, I need something new to do. I'm bored, but I'm broke. What can I do? Somehow I signed up to this email mailing list. I saw they had a drop-in thing for $20. I'm like, that's something I can do. And there from there, it just, they liked me. They're like, have you ever thought of joining a troupe? Like, what is that?
You know what? I think, yeah, the tangible takeaway that you have left everyone with today is to be clear about your path, be clear
Yeah.
about your goal, write them down. And that's
Yes.
also that law of attraction. Once you have written them down, it will manifest. You will be able to be connected to things that you are desiring, not because they weren't always there, but because you were clear in what you
Right.
want to you. So we'll
Right.
continue with that. Kimmy, man, it's been lovely. We're gonna shut it off. Juliana, I believe, had a comment that she said we must listen and learn, and not just listen and just talk. So, thank you for that, Juliana. I think it's so true. That's what we're trying to do here at Join the Chat. We're listening, not just for listening's sake, but we're trying to learn. We want to learn from everyone that's around. We want to learn from other people's experiences. We want to learn vicariously through others. This is, once again, Join the Chat. I am your host, Mr. Renford, Mr. Bojangles. This is the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important, where you're empowered to express yourself, and it's a free and open space to speak and to be heard. Kimmy, do you have any last thoughts, last regards, last comments that you want to leave the people with, other than just your fabulosity?
Some other I just want to say I hope everybody has a fabulous day. Julie, thank you for tuning in and for engaging, joining the chat. I love it. We appreciate you. Um, and I loved it. At first, I was a little nervous when it was just going to be me and you. I was like, oh, God. But then I was like, whatever, man. I can live this down. So and I want to say thank you, Bojangles, for this wonderful conversation. It was a pleasure. And yeah, and I just want everybody to know, go after your dreams, get clear. Get clear. And go
Once
for
again,
it.
everyone is join the chat. We welcome you. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll have way more conversations coming up in the future. If you like what you've seen, share it with other people as well. And don't forget, it's for you to join the chat. Come in, engage in the chat, have your feelings and your opinions and your thoughts and your perspectives be heard and brought to the forefront. We are here for you. This is Join the Chat. We welcome you and we sign off for another week. One love. Blessings.
Hmm.